Hi, everybody. Tal here, and today we're talking about something we all like very much, pleasure. In fact, I'm going to be talking about where we can get the highest form of pleasure and perhaps one of the only kinds of pleasures we can actually receive in our times. Stay tuned. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Choosing to Connect, the place to love your life by living from love. And today we're talking about the concept of pleasure. Now, I'm talking about this especially now because we're beginning to see that the world right now is taking out a lot of the pleasures that we used to enjoy in our lives. For example, we can't go to the movies, we can't go to the beach, we can't travel, we can't fly anywhere, right? Like we used to. We can't go shopping, we can't go to the mall. I mean, at least where I'm living right now, we're in lockdown. Maybe you are also. So in general, a lot of these things that we used to enjoy, restaurants, theaters, all of these things are being taken out of our lives. And when I say taken out, I'm not talking about the governments, I'm not talking about what's happening on the corporate level, but I'm really looking at how everything is being managed from a higher perspective of the process of evolution of on which we are. And I see everything as coming from nature. Of course, there are people making decisions, but on a grand scale, there is a power that is in control of all of this, and that is pushing us forward in our conscious evolution. And so there's no coincidence that things happen the way that they do. And so, what is the meaning of living in a time where we're able to extract less and less pleasures of the kind that we used to in the past? Of course, socialization is being restricted, hugging, kissing, all these things that were considered to be sources of joy for us are being taken away. So, what does it mean? What do we need to learn or understand from this message? So, what I believe is being shown to us here is that the way we use to receive pleasure is not the ultimate way to enjoy our existence. There is a bigger pleasure, a higher quality pleasure, a more aligned pleasure that we need to discover. And because we weren't advancing towards that real pleasure that the universe wants to give to us, it's helping us out by taking away all of those things that we were occupied with. It's kind of like a child that really wants to play with that old ragged doll and will not put it away to play with something a lot better, a lot more advanced, a lot bigger, a lot more colorful. And, mom is throwing that old ragged doll away so that finally the child can enjoy something that is on a higher level. So that is kind of what's happening to us right now. A lot of the things that we were accustomed to that brought us pleasure that we thought were great are being taken away. And we're finding ourselves with less things to occupy us in our day to day. And it's exactly the time to start asking ourselves why and what is the sort of pleasure that we can receive right now. And this is the amazing thing that nature itself is a source, right? A lot of people call it the source. It's the source of life, it's the source of light, and it's the source of pleasure. And it wants you to connect directly to it instead of feeling happy with little sparks of pleasure here and there, going to see that movie that everybody's talking about, enjoying a restaurant that was recommended by other people, doing things because the environment is telling you that is what fun equals, that is what joy means, this is what pleasure is, and never really connecting to your very unique internal and true sort of fulfillment. And that internal fulfillment that really fills your heart, your mind, and your soul is what nature wants you to receive. So let's talk just in a few moments about what that means, what that looks like. How can we connect to source and begin to receive pleasure in a more direct, higher quality way? So here's the trick. To receive pleasure directly from source, we cannot do this as our self, as our ego self. We need to evolve our consciousness. And evolving our consciousness, as I've been talking about in my channel, is through connection with others. This is why we need to choose to connect, because that is how we move forward. That is how we progress. And it's no coincidence that the pandemic is showing us how connected we are, how much we influence each other, that everything that happens to us, for the good or the bad, happens to all of us together. And so receiving pleasure and advancing towards source is also something we need to do by expanding from our focus on self to our focus on connection and on others. In fact, the source, or you can call it God or nature, that field of higher consciousness, is revealed in a higher connection between human beings. And I've mentioned this before, there is a network that connects us, a spiritual network, where we can learn how to interact with each other, with our thoughts, with our feelings, with our intentions. And we can begin to receive light, love, support from one another through this inner network. And when people work on this connection, as I have many friends who do, we create a space, a vessel that can receive the higher power, this light, this pleasure that we're meant to receive. And ultimately, the greatest pleasure is when we begin to be aligned with the higher power, with nature, with light, and to pass that through us to other people, to all beings, to all of reality. When you become a channel for light and you begin to express your giving, your, we call it bestowal, your connection in your unique way, which is completely unique to you, because each of us has a unique soul with a unique attribute in the way that it connects to the whole and the way that it bestows its love, its light. When you begin to express yourself, your uniqueness in that most highest potential, in that highest form, that's when you begin to feel the greatest pleasure there is. So I know that was a bit kind of not tangible, a bit abstract, but that is where we're headed. We're headed to a place where we're all connected, we're all full of love, full of light, eternal, no fear, no limitations, no sense of separation between us. Sure, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be a lot to learn, a lot of growth, but it's going to teach us how to connect to the source of pleasure and light and enjoyment in the universe, instead of settling for all those little tiny sparks of leftovers that we used to get from going out, hanging out, eating good food. Not against it. I think it's great, but you know, that pleasure is so fleeting, and animals get this kind of pleasure too, and we need it, but there's something higher waiting for us, a much bigger pleasure, a much higher level of existence, greater awareness, greater understanding, and really a mastery of this life, a mastery of this universe and its laws, and how we cooperate with them to be the best selves that we can be. So that's it for today. If you have any comments, leave them below. Any questions, I'd be happy to hear them. Subscribe to the channel to learn about new videos that come out every week. And I'd really love to connect with you. So let's be in touch and keep growing together. Bye for now.